Good morning. Welcome to this webinar on Work Well, Waste Less, Eco-Effectiveness in Ergonomics. Okay, so at Posturite, we host a number of webinars a year. First of all, I think as this is the last one, I wanted to thank the team that put these webinars together. So just a quick name check for Tom Nagel, who is our master technician, Harriet Kenwood, our fabulous designer, and Kate Wright, who always adds her creative flair to these presentations. Posturite are always taking great care to work with sustainable suppliers, some of which are on this webinar today, as you see, and thanks to Clara, Vincent and Frank, who will show you how the world of sustainable ergonomic furniture is changing. I'm very pleased to have European speakers on this call as they will offer insight into their respective countries' culture and legislation as regards sustainability. I think the Posturite is a sustainable choice because, as well as our EcoVadis silver rating, as well as our ISO 1401 certification, we're always seen to do the right thing and to take action. And in the world of sustainability, where loads of us are just filling in forms all the time, which can be a bit frustrating, taking action is the most important thing. So my name is Hugo Youngman. I'm head of sustainability at Posturite, and I've been with the company for years. This is part of our sustainability journey. It emphasizes the most important things that have been circulating around sustainability in 2025 for us. So in 2022, we first started to measure scope 1 and 2 emissions. But it's clear from this particular chart that shows the scope of all emissions that scope 3 is where we have the opportunity to reduce our emissions in a much more positive and fundamental way. We didn't start to measure our scope 3 emissions um, because the assumptions around scope 3 emissions are so varied, and we believed that the data would not be robust. So there was a danger of inaccurate reporting. But we had our minds changed, or I had my mind changed. I'm going to name check someone, Victoria Ventosa, who is my fellows compatriot. My compatriot at Fellows, our parent company, and she did a life cycle assessment on a monitor arm, paid quite a lot of money to do that, and got the results for that LCA. She then went back and included all products and assumptions in a broad scope 3 calculation, which was a huge task. But what she found is that there was only a 10% difference between the accurate LCA and the assumed scope 3 figures. So, as I say, we're making a lot of assumptions around scope 3, how products are disposed of, how it's made, what energy is being used. And with 4,000 SKUs, that was a mammoth task. But as I say, this tolerance gave us confidence that the scope 3 calculations were more accurate than we thought. Next slide, Tom. So what happened is between 2022 and 2024, our emissions increased 11 times, but that's because we measured more. And so being in this position today of measuring a full scope of our emissions, we can now seek to reduce those more meaningfully. So improvements we made in 2025, or projects that have been on the go. So we haven't used any fossil fuel on our site in Berwick in East Sussex since 2008, and we updated our supply to Ecotricity, which only use hydro, wind and solar, in May 2025. And one of the reasons we did that is that previously we were using Drax, who you can make a judgment on this yourself, but burn wood pellets, but are seen to be by the government of this country to be a renewable energy source. We didn't think so, so we changed. But in addition to that, last year we installed 148 solar panels on our head office in Berwick, as you can see in this picture. And that is going to give us 73,000 kilowatts of energy, which is split between 42,000, which we use here, and 33,000, which we then contribute to export. So all these lovely little houses in Berwick can use our free electricity. But ultimately, the ROI on that is really good, and we save £2,000 a month. That's, I think, on average. But The calculation as to how we'll get our money back on that is within about 6 or 7 years, I believe. Back to the main thing, our emissions on scope 3. So basically, our purchased goods are our largest sources of emissions. And where are we? And we can encourage staff to travel to work more sustainably. They could take the bike or the bus or the train, and we do, but reducing our purchased goods emissions is the key. So from raw material selections, energy used to create products and packaging, these are all key elements to reduce possible emissions. And in addition, you'll see the downstream transport and logistics always bringing the garden closer to the kitchen. So sourcing product more geographically will also assist in reductions. And actually, how this works out for us in terms of scoping out scope 3 is that desking, our desk project, makes up 28% of the 74% of emissions. Chairs makes up 23%, chair accessories 8%, and sit stand platforms 15%. So we can see that if we've got 4,000 SKUs at Posturite and we do offer a full service of ergonomic products, we can concentrate on those that are producing most emissions in order to reduce our emissions in the marketplace. Okay, and one further thing I just wanted to mention is contribution. So you'll see this circle here of carbon accounting, which is the measurement, reduction, which is the climate impact, and then contribution, because we are still contributing to emissions in the business that we undertake. So we decided this year for the first time to contribute to climate projects around the world. And, quite honestly, offsetting has a particularly it's not been a great look recently in the marketplace. There's a lot of schemes that are a little bit flaky. What does contribution look like for us? Well, we do our contribution through our accredited third party, the Climate Partner in London, and they've sorted out these projects for us. The breadth of these projects is worldwide. And ultimately, we must take action where climate change is most prevalent. So I always wanted to contribute to projects in the UK because you could actually see and feel them, and maybe we could visit them. But the fact is that these projects, such as assisted natural regeneration in Ethiopia, is really important from a more holistic worldwide level. So the variety of these projects, and they were voted on by Posturite employees, are worldwide, and will be keeping progress updated via our pages on the Climate Partner website, which we can supply to you. The planned contribution for these stretches into 2026 and 2027, and I'm really excited about that because obviously we can then keep tabs on them, make sure they're improving, and ratify them throughout those particular years. Okay, so that's my particular contribution to this presentation. I'm now going to hand you on to Clara from Flokk, who's going to show you how a sustainable design philosophy is built into Flokk's ethos.
Okay, thank you very much, Hugo. My name is Clara Theve, and I am the A&D Manager and Sustainability Ambassador at Flokk UK. Flokk is a house of brand with a Scandinavian heritage. And Flokk is the Norwegian spelling of a flock, which is a group of birds. And this directly reflects our identity as a collection of brands moving together. We offer sustainable seating solutions for workspaces, and we aim to inspire great work. We have a portfolio of over 4,000 products, so of course there is no time for me today to go through them all. I will instead concentrate on Flokk's circular design principles and demonstrate their application by showcasing 2 different chairs from our brand RH and HÅG. So our chairs are rubbish and we couldn't be prouder. At Flokk, we design and manufacture ergonomic seating solutions to improve people's lives by directly affecting the health and efficiency of individuals and organizations. And we always keep both ergonomics and sustainability top of mind. Through our sustainable design principles, the carbon footprint of our seating solutions are reduced. Hence, if you or your organization is looking to reduce your environmental impact, we got the shares for you. We estimate that approximately 90% of our total environmental impact comes from the making of our products. And almost all of this happens before parts and components even arrive at our factories. And 95% of the emissions generated in the manufacturing of our products come from the materials themselves. Therefore, choosing recycled materials over virgin materials has a significant impact. As designers and product developers, we have an enormous responsibility, designing products to help us make the right choices when it comes to materials and components. Designs that are not just high quality, but also a low environmental impact. Environmental impact information on the life cycle of a product is quantified in EPDs, Environmental Product Declarations. We hold these third-party verified documents, which enables comparison between products fulfilling the same function. You can use it to compare different shares. Sustainability is part of our DNA. So over 30 years ago, we already set our principles for sustainable design. We call it the 5-3 circular design principles. It's 5 circular design criteria with 3 focus areas. We believe by developing a product with low weight, few components, the right choice of materials, to be designed to have a long lifespan and designed for disassembly, that this will have a positive impact on the 3 focus areas. So number 1, the climate. We want to reduce our carbon footprint and energy consumption. Number 2, resources. We want to minimize waste by using as much recycled material as possible. And number 3, we want to reduce the use of chemicals and hazardous substances. In the coming slides, I will show you how the 5-3 circular design principle works and how these design choices can help you select a sustainable ergonomic chair. The first chair from our portfolio that I want to highlight is the RH Logic 220 chair from our Swedish brand HÅG, RH. This chair has been re-engineered and redesigned using the 5-3 circular design principles since its initial launch back in 1989. The RH Logic 220 is designed for refurbishment and life extension with as few and high-quality components as possible, which ensures that the chair can be repaired, replaced, or have the potential for reuse. All this helps to reduce the environmental impact. The RH Logic 220 chair contains a high percentage of recycled material. So the plastic used in this chair is 88% post-consumer recycled. That's the equivalent of 137 recycled shampoo bottles. The aluminium we use in this chair is 98% post-consumer recycled. That's 466 recycled aluminium cans. That's the equivalent of 5.9 kilos recycled aluminium. We are constantly increasing the amount of recycled plastic, aluminium, and steel in our chairs. Recycled materials are almost always less energy intensive to use when compared to virgin materials, and using them consumes more waste than it creates. In addition to using recycled materials and as few components as possible, we do not use any glue or staples in the RH Logic 220 chair. To secure the upholstery, we use a patented drawstring that you can see in the upper right corner. We patented this drawstring mechanism over 10 years ago, and this is now being used in the launch of every new chair. The drawstring allows for the chair to be easily disassembled at the end of life, allowing the material to either be repaired or replaced, or to be properly sorted, recycled, and finding its way back into a new product again. All RH chairs are designed with longevity in mind, as per the 5-3 circular design principles, and therefore comes with a 10-year warranty, although we see these chairs being used much longer than that. I also want to highlight a chair from our Norwegian brand HÅG, the HÅG Capisco chair. This is an iconic ergonomic chair designed by the Norwegian designer Peter Opsvik over 40 years ago, that also has been re-engineered and redesigned in accordance with our 5-3 circular design principles, designed for a long lifespan with a 10-year warranty. Today, the HÅG Capisco chair has a high content of recycled materials, with 49% recycled content in total, and as few components as possible. And as with the RH Logic 220 chair, we don't use any staples or glue. We use the patented drawstring to secure the upholstery. That, combined with a few components, allows for easily disassembly. Finally, I want to end with these images showing that Flokk doesn't only offer a sustainable seat. Each of our brands have their own unique ergonomic philosophy, but they all focus on human needs and what we need to perform a task optimally. The Flokk heritage is to design and manufacture chairs that address and reduce back pain. Chairs that support, provide relief, allow movement, and different seating variations. Thank you for listening.
So I will go, my name is Vincent Bons, I'm the founder of Argo Tools. Today, I will go through how we design ergonomic mice on a sustainable way. So at Argo Tools, we design ergonomic accessories, unique products to work ergonomically with a computer. And we do that since 2010. We are with about 15 people in the head office in the Netherlands and 20 people locally in other countries in Europe and the US. We are very well known for the ergonomics and sustainability. We originated from a consultancy firm, an ergonomic consultancy firm, Argo Solutions, which is owned by my wife Anita. And as I had a master's degree in ergonomic product design, we started Argo Tools as a company together to basically design preventive, good ergonomic solutions, and not only creative for people that have physical complaints. We are mostly known for our mice and ergonomic mice and keyboard, and for that reason, I will go into sustainability of our ergonomic mouse. And as a company, we have basically 3 pillars where we design all the products around, and that's we care for your health, and it's also connected to a blue color. We care for people in need, that's an orange color, and we care for the environment. So if we look at how we do that, we care for your health. So basically we design patented, unique solutions, where also we have certification externally by user testing and medical experts from AGR. That's a German institute that basically performs user tests to really analyze if this is the best ergonomic solution. And the reason we started the company is because we wanted to help, and it's also part of our sustainability, people in need, and that's our passion. That means that we have a foundation next to our company that's called Tools for Life, and we basically want to make a positive impact on the complete supply chain of our products. So not just designing good ergonomic products that is as cheap as possible, but have a positive impact. That means that we also have certified this. We are a B Corp. B Corp is a kind of a social enterprise. It's an American association, social enterprise, but we basically look in the supply chain. Can we make a positive impact on people and also on the environment? For example, we have a twister mouse and we supply a bag with the twister mouse to carry the mouse. That bag is made of recycled clothes and the bag is produced together with a foundation that helps people that normally cannot have a regular job but want to restart their life again, and a job is very important in that. So we have several projects or products where we connect to associations to also help people to work and to learn a job. Of course, as a social enterprise, sustainability is very important. That means we're also EcoVadis certified. It's the most well-known sustainable assessment that's there. And for each product, we basically analyze when we design the product, because we design the products ourselves, how can we do that as good as possible with a minimum impact? And that means, for example, that we look at products to be very modular, so that if one component is broken, it can be replaced. If a battery is broken, it can be replaced for a new battery. Also for monitor arms, a module is broken and it can be replaced, or it can be upgraded or downgraded. But also during the design, we already start making draft LCAs, life cycle assessments, to analyze what's the carbon footprint, what are the materials that we use, can we use different materials to have less impact on carbon footprint. We have EcoVadis certification, as mentioned, and just to go a little bit deeper into the EcoVadis, there are basically 4 aspects that a company is analyzed on, and I just showing you our score. So we are an environment very high. That means we do LCAs for most of our products. We have EPDs, environmental product declarations, for most of our products. But we also take care of labor and human rights, ethics, and of course, sustainable procurement. So that means that all our suppliers, we perform audits, we analyze where even the bolts and the nuts are coming from. We audit them, that it is the proper way to do it, and if it is also sustainable. So if we go into detail of the mouse. So when we start designing a mouse, and I show you a picture here of our He mouse, it's the most well-known mouse. At the beginning, we already start to look at, can we reduce the amount of material? So a lot of mice are known that they're very heavy because it feels like more quality. Our mouse is very light because we want to use less materials. And we also design with minimum carbon footprint. So that means in our situation that we look at the materials we use, and we use most of our mice and plastics and keyboards are made of ABS plastics, because ABS and the material selection is very important. Can imagine that the keys of a keyboard or the clicking of a mouse, the buttons, need to be very accurate. And to be accurate, you need to have high quality plastics. And ABS is well known that if you recycle it, it still keeps the same properties as virgin plastics. So most of our products, we use ABS and to have maximum performance with recycled plastic. And all our products that plastics that we use, we do use recycled plastic. At the moment, most of our products use post-production recycled plastic because of the quality, and also because there's one important aspect that we don't know where the recycled plastic is coming from. And if you don't know it, and for example, there are hazardous materials in there, the mouse is a product, or the keyboard, that the user keeps in the hand the whole day. So we want to be sure that it's 100% safe. But now we are changing more and more to post-consumer recycled plastics, and we do that with GRS, and that's Global Recycling Standard. And that's GRS means also that each batch that we recycle, we analyze on the materials that are in there. Or is there any hazard material in there or not? Because otherwise we cannot use the batch. And the nice thing about the GRS is it's coming from textile industry, but it analyzed the complete supply chain. So not only the final product, but also the suppliers before. So when we have designed our product, we also start to certify our mouse. And for example, our mouse, we of course do CE. That's the standard certification. Part of it is ROHS, that's for restriction on hazardous substances, so that there are no hazardous substances in our product. But we also do WEEE testing. That basically means in the lab, we analyze how much of the product can be reused or recycled. And I just share some data, but you can see in the lab that our mouse has about 86% of recovery rate. So basically 86% according to the lab of the product can be recycled. And when we think it's too low, so it's below 80%, we redesign it in a way that it can be recycled easier. For example, replacing bolts and nuts with fast clicks or other mechanisms. So after we have tested our product in the lab, we also look at the recycling at the end of a life cycle of a product. And basically what we do there is we bring a batch to a random recycle company in the Netherlands, and we ask them what comes out at the end, how much will be recycled and how much not. That's basically, in this example, Holland Recycling. It's a Dutch company close to our office. And out of the result is about 85% of the product will be recycled. So we analyze that really if a customer, wherever in the world, will recycle it, is it really getting close to the target that we developed in the lab, so around the 85%. So in this case, it is the same. But also we are connected to WEEE, so we are a member. So that means that if the end user wants to recycle the product, so when the mouse is broken, for example, it can bring it to a local WEEE collection point. So we are a member of that organization. So that means that the recycling of electronics is very easy for the end user. And if for the end user, they prefer not to bring it to that collection point, we even have a lifetime take-back guarantee. So we always take it back. And you can see on the picture, we recycle the products ourselves. So that basically we separated the batteries from the plastics, from the electronics, and we bring it to a recycling company that even more than the 85% of our products will be recycled. So summarizing, when looking at our ergonomic mice, we basically try to design our product as sustainable as possible. After that, we always test it in the lab and, of course, improve it also in the lab to see if we can get a higher rate of recycling. And at the end, we also take care of a good way, a proper way, and an easy way for the end user to have our product really recycled.
Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to share how we bring circularity to life within the Fair Furniture Group. My name is Frank Bouma, and as Chief Sustainability Officer, I collaborate closely with my colleagues every day to drive meaningful progress in sustainable development, turning ambition into action for a better future. This image shows one of our production sites located in Emmen in the north of the Netherlands. This is not only one of the central points of our circular operations, but also the location of our 30,000 square meters greenfield, where we actively work on biodiversity and future-proof industrial landscapes. If we switch to the next slide, we see the Fair Furniture Group. It's a family-owned company consisting of several strong brands, each serving its own market niche, from office furniture, VIPA, and educational environments to storage solutions and ergonomical seating. And through our Fair Furniture Academy, we bring together stakeholders and co-develop, including on circularity. After all, we need the entire value chain to create real impact. In the next sheet, we see the value chain. We are all talking about this presentations, and this is a simplified diagram of the value chain. And if we look where the largest footprint lies, as Clara also explained, it lies in the raw materials. And that's also where one of the biggest opportunities for sustainability and circularity are. So if we look at the value chain, we see the production sites from the Fair Furniture Group on the far right. So it's not just getting our own house in order, but we must look beyond our factory gates. And that's why we've built strong upstream and downstream collaborations. Together with our suppliers, we develop and co-develop more sustainable and circular materials, and together we close loops. But because we often want to innovate faster than our supply chain allows, we also invest and co-invest in material development ourselves. I'll show you some examples shortly. We also take back furniture from our customers in the in-use market, and we reintroduce it to our customers through circular services. And this prevents valuable materials from leaking out of the system and become waste. This is supported by a growing customer demand for circular furniture, for example, interior concepts designed according to the hierarchy of the R ladder. It's been a major shift in our business model, starting with a new perspective on our role as a manufacturer. We do not only make new circular office furniture, but we add value to materials, components, and products, new and existing. We we have 4 production sites in the Netherlands, and we have 1 in the UK. And what we've said, we've brought our dream factory to life, and this is an infographic of the dream factory. And there's a few factors I want to emphasize. So for energy intensive processes, we apply innovations like electrification, but also hydrogen in powder coating, an energy intensive process. Our circular center is centrally located in the production, where we assess and dismantle components before reintegrating them into regular production. Also, education is embedded in various ways, including hands-on training programs within the factory. And we've also integrated vocational practical education into our operation by establishing a classroom within our production site, allowing students to learn hands-on in a real manufacturing environment. And last, on our greenfield, we experiment with our own natural raw materials such as hemp, grasses, and flax. We support biodiversity and grow fruit and vegetables in a fully organic way for the local food bank. This is our vision for the industrial sites of the future. If you look, there's the next slide. By designing products and services with circularity in mind, we enable circular interior solutions. However, the meaning of commonly used terms related to sustainable and circular materials, products and services is not always clear. Many stakeholders apply their own definitions, which leads to confusion and inconsistencies. To address this, we've co-created and co-initiated the development of the Dutch practical guideline, the NPR 8313, aimed at establishing clear definitions and measurable criteria. Through the initiative, we seek to accelerate circular innovation and improve the recognition and evaluation of circularity. The guideline outlines 6 design strategies for circularity. In practice, applying these strategies often involves trade-offs, for example, between modularity and material efficiency, or between circularity and climate impact. This model, including its sub-strategies, helps identify and communicate these trade-offs in structured and transparent ways. In the next slide, we show our circular center from the inside. It includes stock of existing products ready for refurbishment, semi-finished components prepared for use in new products, contract-specific items, and our Fair Furnished collection, a range of refurbished furniture available directly from stock. The current collection includes desks, student sets, office chairs, and standard chairs. And we manage new inflows from various sources, triage and sort them into different streams, and each item is tagged and photographed, as having a transparent and well-documented inventory enables effective reuse. All materials and production steps we add are part of the standard modular manufacturing process. Existing chair frames are finished using the same coloring techniques as new produced frames. And reupholstering of existing chairs takes place in the same location, carried out by the same skilled team. And to make refurbishment and refurbished furniture more transparent and trustworthy, we also developed a quality label called Fair Furnished. Each item retains its original manufacturer's label and tags, and together with the quality label, we add a sticker that makes our refurbishment process traceable and clearly identifiable. In the next sheet, I have an example of some innovations, some recent innovations. These are our hemp chairs. Our chairs with a shell made from hemp composite, fully plant-based. And in the next phase, in the collaboration with Pace, it's a coffee company, we integrate coffee industry waste into the chair. And this chair tells the story, hemp coffee. The next slide shows our Fin chair. This is the chair with a shell made of clean surgical waste, blue wrap. This started with identifying traceable, local, and homogeneous waste streams in healthcare, helping us to avoid virgin plastics. And now it's a symbol for smart and local material loops. The next slide shows our latest innovation, Circuboard. In practice, we often see that tabletops are replaced entirely, even when there's only minor damage or when the color no longer matches. And that's why we've made the tabletop modular by making the HPL top removable using an adhesive that can be activated with heat. When tops return to us, we can remove the top and install a new top layer and edge finish, saving more than 90% of the materials. The core is also made more sustainable. You can see it in the next sheet, and that's thanks to the use of the minimum of 50% of organic glue and replacing fossil glue, and that's reducing the impact. And for the core, we work with the Flyder's organic board. And in the next sheet, you see the end result, a tabletop that is designed to use again and again. And this is how we make our modular desk systems even more modular, circular, and low impact, as you see in the next sheet. As we've seen in the infographic Hugo showed in the beginning, that also desk systems account for a large amount of impact in the environmental impact in scope 3 for a lot of our stakeholders. Well, thank you for listening. And if you're ever in the Netherlands, we'd love to welcome you at one of our locations and show you circularity in action. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Frank, and Vincent and Clara also. Yeah, those are really, really good presentations and initiatives within the sustainability arena. So any questions? So I do have a couple of questions here, but I'll start with a question from Espen Skolason. And they say, how do you ensure the technical quality, e.g. strength, of the take-back parts / products to use for manufacturing?
Well, that's also an interesting discussion, and it's also a discussion in the standardization on EU level, because we want to have that circular working and closing the circle for products, on all different product levels. And one of the first questions everybody asks, what about the certification? What about, exactly the things we heard here. And there's also a standard being written at this point, how to assess it, because it's really difficult to have each part or each component or each end product to be assessed and certified again, because at that point it wouldn't be economically interesting to ensure that process. So there's different ideas at this point, and especially a different risk assessment for a chair than for even sit-stand desk. But most parts we see, and what's also being anticipated into the standard, is when it has an original certification and you do not do any constructional differences on it, Yeah, from that perspective, it's not necessary to have an additional certification, but we've also had customers I think about in a few years where we did a big circular project and adjusting and also refurbishment desk systems where we did a new certification. But that was a project for about 2,000 sit-stand desks. So then it's more economical, viable. Yeah.
Okay, and do you find generally that the take back parts or products are how do you decide whether you're going to use them or not? What makes your decision on that kind of thing?
For us, it's a part of the so-called triage system. So most of the time we try to assess it on the location where the furniture is because you want to
Right.
do the triage there. Sometimes when it's more difficult or less predictable, we do it on the factory side, and then we can do different tests on the materials. And then we can direct it to different streams. But that triage system is really specialist work,
Yeah.
also with a backlog of all experience we have with different products and different manufacturers. So it's really also knowledge based and experience based
Mhm.
for us.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so I'm going to kick off with another question. So, what legislation is coming down the line that will impact on furniture sustainability in the next couple of years?
So we have the ESPR, the Eco Design for Sustainable Products Regulation coming into place. And obviously, I believe all our companies are already, following the EU Green Deal, that this is a more precise regulation for the products that we are actually producing. So it will serve toward greater transparency and also for responsible sourcing. So we look very positive on that.
And is that going to cause a huge amount of time to input into those certifications and whatever else?
Of course, we're already doing the EPDs. We're already measuring, our scope 1 to 3 emissions. So it's a lot of things that we're already doing that just will be quantified now.
Okay, very good. Another question I have is how do I and my organization, what do I gain from buying sustainable ergonomic products?
I think in general, I think it's more and more a topic. There's more regulation coming up, and of course, for any organizations, is complying to that regulations and minimizing carbon footprint, for example, or having digital passports. Um, so I think it's compliance, but it's also people are looking more and more, and companies are looking more and more, not just for the cheapest products, but for a good quality product, and also together with the sustainability, of course, quality is a major part of it because a sustainable product is a product that has a long lifetime.
Mm.
So I
Okay.
think there are several benefits, not only complying, but also the good quality or the modularity. If a product is broken, you can replace or upgrade the module to ensure a long lifetime.
Hmm. And traditionally, buying sustainable products, I saw some research recently that said a consumer would spend maybe 10 or 15% more on a sustainable product, but no more than that. So is that trend likely to end, or are we always, as a consumers, are we going to be, spending more on a sustainable product into the future, or would it become more equitable?
What we see, but we are more in the electronic devices. So of course, if you look at mice and keyboards, we supplying to corporates, but also to consumers. So we see a trend where the end consumers, so basically for using it at home, price is very important. So paying more for sustainable product is not as important as for companies, for example, or corporates that want to have like a good working environment, have good quality tools for their employees, basically.
Okay. Listen, I think that's been a really worthwhile exercise hosting this webinar. So thank you very much to Clara, to Frank, and Vincent. Um, you guys really are at the vanguard of sustainable ergonomic products, and we appreciate that. And obviously, any questions that you have about these products can be directed to your Posturite area sales manager. Check out our website for mailing lists for details of future webinars. And thank you very much for tuning in today. We'll see you soon. Thank you.
Thank you very much.